and gentlemen, it's SummerSlam!
What's going on, YouTubers? It is your boy, Alyx, and welcome to another SummerSlam review for my SummerSlam review series, where I review every single SummerSlam leading up to SummerSlam 2018. We're on the 5th SummerSlam in 1992, a favorite for a lot of wrestling fans for good reason. This is the historic show overseas in London, England, Wembley Stadium, where they packed out over 80,000 fans. They sold that mother out. And you know what? It's one of those shows that make you go, why don't we do this more often? This is one of the only few shows they've done overseas. Pay-per-view wise, this is the only SummerSlam they've done overseas, right? I think it is. Let me just tell you why shows like this show WWE they should do more shows overseas. The crowds in London, the crowds in the UK, period, are some of the best wrestling fans any wrestling company could ask for. Come on now, they're hardcore to the bone about the art of wrestling. Even back then in 1992, they loved this, especially now. So maybe WWE should look back on SummerSlam 1992 for influence on why we should do this more often. And hopefully one day we will get another SummerSlam, if not a Wrestlemania, in the UK. Because damn, this was crazy. But yeah, historic. They sold out 80,000 in the Wembley Stadium, which is big. That's huge. For a wrestling event, unheard of. And the main event featured a classic between Bret the Hitman Hart and British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. Let's get to it. We're going to break things down with some details and then get to the matches. And this won't be quick. I'm not going to say too much about this show because it's one of those shows that really doesn't really require me to say much. It's just a really good show. It stands the test of time. Because the first 4 SummerSlams back then were considered great, good for their time. This is the only one so far that stood the test of time as an actual good show. But details about the show: runtime 2 hours and 15 minutes. Date check this out. It aired August 31st of 1992, but it was taped and was live August 29th of 1992. So 2 days before the arena, as I said, Wembley Stadium in London, England, United Kingdom. Attendance. The actual attendance was 80,355. Yo, that's a lot of people. Commentary was Vince McMahon and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Love Bobby the Brain on commentary. And of course, our favorite ring announcer, Howard the Fink, was still there. We opened up with a tag match between Legion of Doom and Money Inc. Money Inc. was the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and IRS. Not much else to say about it. Legion of Doom win. Opening match was fine. Crowd got into it. Moving on. Unfortunately, we move on to a horrible match. Virgil versus Nails. So, Nails was one of those larger than life because he's tall and muscular. Those Vince McMahon projects that you look at and go, oh, Lord. Unfortunately, this one ended up biting Vince in the behind because I heard, don't know if this is actually accurate, and again, to the fans who know exactly how the story went, please give me more details in the comments. But I heard that Nails attacked Vince McMahon in his office one day, and it was over money, kind of like the Ultimate Warrior. See, we thought the Warrior was crazy. We talk about Ultimate Warrior holding up the show for money. That's one thing. Nails actually attacked Vince for more money. And we know what happens when you attack Vincent Kenny McMahon physically. Well, he probably punches you back. But yeah, he got fired, of course. So he didn't last very long in WWF. He wasn't even all that good. Especially in this match against Virgil. It was awful. He sucked. And this match was garbage. Why was he even a thing? I have no idea. I don't want to know. But yeah, I doubt anybody missed him when he got fired. Next up is one of my favorite matches of the evening. Rick the Model Martel taking on the first appearance of the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels as a singles competitor. Yes, he's been on SummerSlam with the Rockers, with Marge and Eddie, but as a singles competitor, this is his first appearance. And in his corner was Sensational Sherri, who wasn't deliberately trying to look ugly anymore. I didn't really appreciate her deliberately making herself look ugly so she can be a heel or be hated. She's not someone that you can just hate. She's a gorgeous woman. I'm sorry. Yes, she's a good heel. Absolutely. Really good heel, but Sensational Sherri was way too gorgeous to be having all that crazy makeup on, making people hate her. Whatever. Listen, I love this match. This is the kind of fun I look forward to in wrestling. Yes, it was heel versus heel, but the dynamic worked. You don't have to have baby faces fight heels all the time, as two matches show you on this show, because we had a babyface versus babyface main event, and then we had a heel versus heel match. And both of them were great. One was better than the other one. The main event. We'll get to that one in just a second. But this was awesome. So the story was Sensational Sherri had a thing for Shawn Michaels and Rick the Model. And during this match, they did this thing where they promised Sherri they would not hit each other in the face. And next thing you know, they start hitting each other in the face, and the match ends in a double count out. Yeah, sure, you can say that ruined the quality of the match. And it kind of did. Could have been something better. But you know what? What I got was fine. Once again, this is when comedy is done right. Because the whole thing about how the match ended, you see Sherri seeing them breaking down and fighting each other and punching each other in the face, and she just faints. She just falls out, faints. It's play fading, but she's fainted. And the boys are like, no, Sherri. And so they start beating each other up and trying to carry her off and stuff. And every single time, they just end up dropping her, and she just flops all over the place. It was hilarious. And then in the end, freaking Rick the Martel. And then in the end, Rick the Model douses her in a bucket of water, and she just goes crazy. And I just died laughing. I love this. This was entertainment. When WWE does comedy right, it's hilarious. Now, if only we can say the same thing about other comedy stuff. But moving on from there, we got a tag team championship match between the Natural Disasters, that's Tugboat and Earthquake, taking on the Beverly Brothers. That's Boo and, was it Bew or Bo? That's Bo and Bake. That would be Bo and Blake Beverly with the Genius in their corner. Love the Genius. Very underrated. It was alright. Yeah, it was okay. Wasn't the greatest match in the world. Natural Disasters win. There you go. The crowd loved them. Crowd loved them some Natural Disasters. And then we got Crush versus Repo Man. Nothing to say about Crush. I don't even understand why he was a thing. What was the deal with Crush? Why was he a thing? I know Repo Man. I don't think I really care about Repo Man, but I know Repo Man. I don't understand Crush, though. What was his story? Regardless, he won this match. It was a squash match, basically, so not even worth a rating. This one is worth a rating, though. WWE Championship. Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. Taking on the Ultimate Warrior in a WrestleMania 7 rematch. Huge match for SummerSlam. And this was great. Now, the story going into this is the whole idea of Mr. Perfect being in one of their corners. And at this time, Mr. Perfect was a heel. And I think he was on a mini retirement. He couldn't wrestle because of an injury he suffered. But regardless, he was still on TV, and he was working with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And the story goes, Ric Flair, well, we end up realizing that it was all a ruse, but he told this rumor that Mr. Perfect, he was working for one of the guys in this match. And so everyone speculated, who are you working for? Because the fans thought whoever Perfect was working for was the heel. So when the match was happening and it was going very well, out walks Mr. Perfect and he starts helping Ultimate Warrior by attacking Randy Savage. And so you start thinking, Warrior is the guy, right? But then they start attacking Warrior, and then Savage ends up helping Warrior out, and then you realize, wait a minute, this was all a ruse. This was their way of trying to sabotage the WWE Championship match because Ric Flair was not in it, which is what this was all about. Ric Flair was pissed off he wasn't in the match, so he tried to sabotage it, which, hey, good heel work, and it added a lot of drama to the match, which made it great. Was it as good as the WrestleMania 7 match? Not really. The countout finish was whatever. Ultimate Warrior wins by countout, but Randy Savage keeps the belt. So I guess that was their way of protecting their talent. Personally, just have Savage win. Like, I look at matches like this and I don't understand what was wrong with just having Savage beat Warrior. I'm not saying this finish was bad, but I just have to question, why go over the edge protecting these guys? It's okay to have Savage beat Warrior because he's a fan favorite. It's fine. Seriously, it's absolutely fine. You don't have to protect your talent so goddamn much. Nitpick. Still a great match. Could have been better. We see both the bad guys run off after their plan was foiled. Darn it. And then we see the good guys, Warrior and Savage, celebrate inside the ring, as Savage is holding up the championship, but limping on his leg. Now, I'm told this would lead to another match between Savage and Flair, where Flair wins the championship back. But we'll get to that at a later date. Moving on with the rest of the show, we have the first appearance of The Undertaker. Yep, the dead man makes his appearance in SummerSlam with Paul Bearer by his side. He is taking on Kamala with Harvey Wippleman. Now, let me just say this. You look at a match like this, and you think to yourself, oh man, this is gonna be monster versus monster. You think like King Kong versus Godzilla. Like, you wanna see destruction. You want that kind of match. And then you see what you get, and you just go, ugh. The very definition of an underwhelming match. And Taker wins by DQ. Because again, we gotta protect our talent. Just don't sacrifice the quality of the match to protect your talent. That's all I'm gonna say. I hate when they do that. I didn't like this. I don't think anybody liked this, really. But Taker ends up running off Kamala. And he did win the match, so yay. What is not skippable is the main event. The main event was the WWF Intercontinental Championship. Let me repeat that. It's not the WWE Championship. Not the rematch from WrestleMania 7. No. It is a WWF Intercontinental Championship match featuring Bret Hart and Davey Boy Smith. Name me one other time in WWF history where the Intercontinental Championship match main evented a SummerSlam, let alone a show. Pay-per-view show, by the way. I'm sure it main evented Raw plenty of times, but I'm talking about a pay-per-view show. Yeah, have fun with that. This was huge, and rightfully so. Absolute classic. Two veterans inside the ring. Two of the absolute best in-ring performers ever. And they had an awesome match in front of that crowd. It's a match I recommend you all go see. So far, up to this point, this is the best wrestling match in SummerSlam history. Now, will it stay that way? Probably not, because we got a lot more matches to go. Trust me. But right now, this is up there. This match was in my top 5, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to go back and just check on it, but you guys have got to see this match. If you want to see Bret Hart at his prime, look no further than this. This was beautiful. And get used to seeing Bret Hart tear it up at SummerSlam. We got a couple more classics to talk about. British Bulldog wins. Awesome moment for Davey Boy Smith. He is your new Intercontinental Champion. A great moment in London, England. And that's how we end the show. Good show. Really good show that still holds up till this day. Give me your thoughts about it down below in the comment section. How did you feel about SummerSlam 1992? I'm glad I went back and watched it. Will I be glad about next year's SummerSlam? We'll have to see. But until then, this is your boy, the Last Man, signing off, and I'll see you next time for SummerSlam 1993. Peace out.